So you've just got yourself a fancy new camera. You've taken the time to learn how to use your camera to get the best photos in landscapes, city photography, whatever. But now you've got that perfect photo that you want to share with millions through Instagram. However, every time you put it on Instagram, Instagram compresses it and turns this great photo that you had into a detailless mess. But don't worry, today we're going to be discussing the best export settings for Instagram to make sure your photos look as best as they can, so that Instagram's compression doesn't ruin it and you can get your photos looking tip-top shape. So without any further delay, let's get into Lightroom, let's get exporting a photo, and let's make your next post look absolutely amazing with these settings. Let's go! Sound effects included. So I am now here at my computer. I just got attacked by my my light diffuser. Now, there are a few guidelines to Instagram, the first of which is the 4:5 aspect ratio crop that you want to consider when taking photographs. Now, the 4:5 aspect ratio crop is basically utilising Instagram's vertical nature as an app. For example, scrolling through my page, you'll see that all of my photos are actually done with the 4:5 aspect ratio crop. Now, I've just jumped over to this photo right here. I absolutely love this photo with the framing of the tree and everything like that, but there's some really empty space that I don't need at the sides. And the main story is right in the middle where the deer is between the two trees. So to share this, to give it the best utilisation on Instagram, I'm going to go to crop. So go to crop, and then where it says as shot, I'm going to scroll down and go to 4:5 aspect ratio. From here you can see it already has cropped the photo, but it's not done it vertically. What you need to do here is just press the X button on your keyboard, and there you go. Recompose your shot, done, and now that is ready to go on Instagram, and bing bam boom, you're done and you're ready. Now, something you may want to consider when you're shooting now is framing. If you are shooting landscapes and you want to crop it and it doesn't work as a crop, then don't try and change it. If it has the wow factor as a landscape shot, keep that wow factor. I still know a lot of people who I follow who do sometimes jump between vertical and horizontal aspect ratios on Instagram because it tells a story. You don't want to ruin the story of an image just for the vertical aspect ratio. Really consider what works for you in that scenario. So we're now at the stage where we can export one of our photographs, and this is where we're going to begin. So the first thing we need to do, well, once you've done all your editing, is go to File and then Export, or Ctrl-Shift-E if you fancy. It will bring up a menu right here, and you may be wondering at first, well, that's a lot of settings, what are we going to do with them all? Well, we're going to sort them through together. Now on the left hand side here, you may notice that I have got user presets. Now these user presets are helpful to me because I can switch between them for certain projects and certain applications. So for example, I've got Instagram right here. Instagram is obviously dedicated for Instagram exports. And you may be wondering, well, why don't you just do them all as Instagram? Well, for example, if I want to do a high quality print, which is the high quality preset here, I have the option available to me. And I can just skip between all the settings without actually having to change them all again and again. So by purpose for this example, so we can go through all the settings together and understand why we need to change said settings, we're going to choose high quality. And the first one we're going to look at is the export location. Can I make this a little bit bigger, please? Go, I don't like it now. Just going to change it back. So we're right here and we're ready. So the first one we're going to do is the export location. Now for this one, I have already chosen Instagram. Now I have got a dedicated folder for all my Instagram work because it makes it easier for me. You might have a different way of working, but this is the way I work because I have it all in one place, so I don't lose track of any of my photos. So not here, there, or anywhere. They're in one folder, they're in one place, and they're ready to go. So set up an Instagram folder if you want to be nice and neat and organized like me. The next one is file naming. Now file naming, this again is an optional choice. You do not have to do this, but again it works for me quite nicely. This button right here where the tick box and it says rename to, and then it will allow me to go on this drop down menu. Now where it says file name, we're going to go down and hit edit underneath. Now we get up another menu right here, but again we don't have to worry about any of this information right here. All we're interested in is where it says file name. Now you can change the extent of this name to whatever you want, but for this example, if you're doing multiple exports, what I'm going to recommend you do is go _IG. This again helps me establish that this is an Instagram post, so again I don't get confused between high quality and accidentally upload to Instagram and high quality print that's going to be heavily compressed. Again, you don't have to do this, but it works for me. The next settings are file settings. So what we have to make sure is that image format is set at JPEG, which it is, and color space is set at sRGB. Now the final thing we have to change here is quality. Now I'm going to set this at 76. We're going to set it at 76 because a lot of people have found that it's a good sweet spot for Instagram. If you have it at 100, again, Instagram has to do more compression because it's going to be a higher quality file. The compression is unavoidable, but if we can have less, in this scenario it will be more. So basically what I'm trying to say, less is more for this scenario. And now we just need to go down to image sizing. Now for image sizing we have to change a few settings right here. So at this tick box we're just going to click it and there we go. We can now go down to this drop down menu. From here the first one we're going to choose is short edge. Now we're going to choose short edge because our photo is vertical. And here where it says pixels, make sure it's not in inch or centimeters, make sure it is in pixels, and we're just going to type in this box 1080. If you are however uploading a horizontal image rather than a vertical, make sure you set instead of short edge, long edge, and in this box write 1350, and then you're ready to go. But for this example we just need it short edge and 1080. So you might be wondering again, why in the world do we need to change this? Well, Instagram on their help page actually recommend that you use between 1350 and 1080 pixels. 1350 if you are doing a horizontal image, and vertical 1080. So what we need to do is make sure we are sitting in those guidelines quite nicely. If you upload any higher than that, then again Instagram has to do a lot heavier compression to allow it to fit within these guidelines. Resolution, I always set this at 72. I don't think it makes much difference, I'm unsure. It's what I've always gone with and I've never had any problems with it. Then we're ready to go. Your photo is now ready to be exported. Before we do that however, we're going to come down to add. And here we're going to add a new preset. So in this we're going to call it YouTube example guide, please subscribe, and we're now going to create it. So if I now go up to the high quality, you'll notice all the settings actually change. But then if I go to the YouTube example guide, please subscribe, you'll notice that the settings change again, but change to the settings we have for Instagram. This is again a quick way of working so you can quickly change between presets and have your final image exported correctly. So we just hit the export button and now we're ready to go. So the final thing we need to know from exporting the photo is how we get the photo from the computer to our phone. So what I recommend using is services such as Google Drive. Google Drive doesn't add any extra compression to your final image, so you're not going to lose any more quality. Some services do that, I don't know which ones on the top of my head, but I know some of them actually do. The other alternative is you put a USB into your computer, plug it into your phone and drag drop the photo to your phone. If you are an Apple user, then I don't know what else to recommend, but I believe AirDrop will work. Now you're ready to post your image to Instagram. So hopefully this tutorial has been helpful to you and you can now continue to export some great and fantastic posts to Instagram in really high quality. If you like the video, then be sure to hit the like button and maybe consider subscribing. So until next time, take care and I'll see you in the next one.